fifth and last, we must remember that despite our differences and the bitterness of this campaign and all of these things, we are all Californians. And that is why we must come together. It's one California. That is why we must celebrate our diversity. That is the thing. And that is why I am for the affirmative action and the rights for the Latinos and the Asians and the Native Americans and the Scientologists and all of that. And also for the gays with the men having sex with other men and the lesbians with each other and the putting of the gerbils and the hamsters and so on up into the bottom and things of this nature. All this I support. So there you have it. My 5-point plan for California. And remember, when you go to the polls this Tuesday, you are not just voting for governor. You are voting for our future and things of that nature. And one more thing, live from New York and all of that, it's Saturday night.
It's Saturday Night Live. With Rachel Dratch, Jimmy Fallon, Tina Fey, Will Forte, Daryl Hammond, Seth Meyers, Chris Parnell, Amy Poehler, Jeff Richards, Maya Rudolph, Horatio Sands, featuring Fred Armisen, Annette Mitchell, Keenan Thompson, a cartoon by Robert Smigel, musical guest John Mayer, and your host, Jack Black. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Black.
Yeah. 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 Oh, we're back in this mix once again. We are doing this thing. We got Saturday Night Live. Let's let the Blues Brothers kick it off here. That's what I want. All right. I'm going to turn that way down because we got a lot to get to tonight. I got a lot of side quests. We got 25 through 1, and we got some side quests to get to. It was really fun doing this the other night. 50 to 26. I got the same Diet Dr. Pepper bottle, 2 liter, from before. I only had a little bit of this since the last one, so we're going to get some of this going here. A little Oreo action for dead ass. This, I don't know if this is like the dopest mix ever, but it's something. Appreciate you guys checking this out one more time. This one is going to be more sausage, bigger stars, funnier clips. Everything's bigger. More arguments, probably. Although I gotta know. I'm not sure if it's going to be more arguments because I do wonder if the biggest arguments is just making sure that certain people are included in the list. But I think that there's going to be plenty to argue about. with my 25 through 1 action here coming up. All right, just to recap here. Here's the criteria. Things that matter. Okay? I mean, I kind of went over this last time. I got a lot to get to, so I just want to just put this out here. Things that don't matter. The key thing here is this last bit. The hosting and guest appearances. This is, in my opinion, the hardest thing when you're making your rankings. To remember that, like, Tina Fey, you know, as Sarah Palin, that was a guest appearance. Maya Rudolph as Kamala Harris, that was a guest appearance. This is the toughest one. And a lot of these guys, they came back, they were big time hosts, and they had some of their most memorable sketches as hosts. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. That is the hardest one to do, but it's supposed to be not how much they did as a writer, and not what they did as a host or a guest appearance type person. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, I just explained that was a Victoria Jackson thing. I don't even know what her thing is. The reason why people don't like her. I don't even remember what it's about. But, yeah, she didn't make my list anyway. She was okay. I got no real specific beef with Victoria Jackson. Or really, Rob Schneider just kind of, his SNL stuff was just kind of annoying, I guess. I don't know, is the main reason he's not on here, but he could have been. He could have been. He was solid. He was solid. All right. Yeah, and I tried to not, if I had like there were some people that didn't really scratch my comedy bone for whatever reason, and I try not to just leave them off. I tried to, like, here's the thing. I actually pretty much love anybody who's ever been involved with SNL. By the way, did everybody get a chance to watch the thing last night? I thought it was pretty great. And it really just reiterated the whole why I like this stuff so much. I just love these people. I just got a lot of love for these people. That's the main reason I'm doing it. I do enjoy all the process of setting up a list and getting the community involved and trying to break down, who should be where. But it's really just about love for these people that we're going to be talking about tonight, these cast members. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's just go. Enough of the setup here. Thanks for everybody once again for checking out the stream. Thanks to everybody who submitted a list. And thanks to Lauren Michaels for being the man, and everybody else that's ever been involved in this show. I think it's time for number 25. Oh, sausage alert. No one saw it. All right, let's go. Let's see what we got here.
Business. BRDTFKLMGHRKW.
So I'm just going to occasionally pop in the middle of these clips just to screw up the detector rhythm, the detector vision of NBC Universal.
T D F P L M K Q K W Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q S T F J R Q M T S D D Q.
This is an amazing thing. I gotta jump in here because it's too long. It's too long, but I had to leave it out.
D P D P L H R K T B T F business.
Wrong.
Okay, so we got Will Forte, number 25 on the list. This is a guy that could be, depending on your criterion, could very well be much higher. Because I think that he's got to be like the top 5 like most committed people on the show. Like just as far as like he'll just sink himself into, it doesn't matter how stupid it is, and he has some stupid characters. He'll just go hard into the role. He'll just be gone. He has got to be the top tier of least times he ever broke on the show. And he had some characters that could have absolutely broken the crap out of just about anybody. I liken him to Curtis Martin. I feel like this guy is the most steady running back ever. Like this guy was locked in. He never fumbled. It's kind of like how Will Forte never broke. Curtis Martin never fumbled. Just, running. You could just, and Will Forte is a score. He's a guy you want to give the ball to. Will Forte. I mean, supplementary guy. That's not really his bag. He's got to kind of be the focal point. He's the guy you want to. Yeah, I like the Matt Forte. That's a good one. That's a good one. So, yeah. So you guys are actually, this shows you that the list makers are hardcores. Because I feel like Will Forte is not, I didn't think he was that popular. But I think the people who contributed to this project can see that he's got to be, he's just an elite talent. He's one of the best. And just kind of enjoyed his brand of humor, which is irreverent, to say the least. He wasn't trying to go for like easy laughs. He was going for high concept shit. And to that end, I'd have, what's wrong with the chat box? It looks good. This is his best. This is the best I could do. The sausage is overwhelming here, so yeah, it doesn't look good. It looks okay. All right, we're gonna have to roll with it though, because we got a lot to do here. All right, let's go to number 24. Yeah, it's a little cut off. I know it's not ideal, but that we cannot go backwards, unfortunately. Thank you for your feedback. All right, number 24.
Hey, Chet's more excited than Dennis Rodman at a Clinique sale. Booyah! Got your partner. Well, the Lakers and Sonics at the Forum, 2 of the favorites in '99. So who's it gonna be in Y2K? Well, Shaq weighed in with his opinion. Booyah! 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 That's right. Shaq Daddy for 37 points. He sends an invitation to the finals party and it says, BYOB, bring your own booyah!
Moochie Norris was 28 for 32 with free throws, by the way. That's a big day for him. He got to the stripe a lot in that skit. Yeah, so here we go. Number 24, Tim Meadows. It's your boy Tim Meadows. At the time, I think when he was done, I think he was the longest tenured cast member ever. So that counts. So, I got him as Jim Plunkett. I feel like the comparison here is the guy who was just kind of around and not really anywhere close to being one of the greats for like the first portion of his career. I mean, I don't think anybody didn't like Tim Meadows, but he never really got to do much. Like his first 4 years on the show. And then all of a sudden when they changed over the cast, he started getting more involved. And then he finally hit big with The Ladies' Man, which I think that was a pretty amazing. That was a big deal for us because it was like we all liked Tim Meadows, but he never really had like that huge character that was like a sensation until just the very end of his career. Then all of a sudden, The Ladies' Man, that was like one of the top bits on the show in the late 90s. So we were all just really happy for Tim Meadows that he got to that point finally. Like just how we were always, we were happy that Jim Plunkett got to the promised land a couple times with the Raiders. So we got the Jim Plunkett comp here. Everybody doesn't know the story of Jim Plunkett. He was just a cast-off, basically, that the Raiders picked up, and next thing you know, he's taking them to 2 Super Bowls. All right. So, yeah, Tim Meadows, just a guy I always liked. And I feel like when I did the research, he was in a few more iconic sketches than I remember. Like the one where they got the F-U-C-K, and he's like the he's like the children's show host. Anyways, Tim Meadows, I think he comes in at 28, so I wasn't too far off with this one with Community. A lot of people love Tim Meadows. Easy guy to like. All right, moving on. We got a lot to get through here. I really want to spend as much time on these guys as possible, but these guys all have just a slew of characters, but we gotta get through this shit. We got a lot to get to tonight. A lot of fun to have here. Let's go. Thanks, Shermy, for the subscription. Number 23.
Well, now, Mr. Rowland, the Chili's are an independent and autonomous people, and they don't consider being beaten with rubber truncheons to be a torture. Just the other day, I talked on the phone to the dictator of Chile, and he assured me that Chili's certainly do not believe that having electrodes placed between your genitals means you are under domination. Give her some water, Governor.
I'd like some water, thank you.
Certainly. Happy.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest guys to rank.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
So yeah, this is definitely easily one of the hardest guys to rank. I think depending on your criteria, you could put this guy just about as high as you want. Like, he basically was the first star of the show. It was like him falling on his face on a weekly basis was a pretty epic comedy for the audiences of 1975, 1976 to enjoy. And you know, he had this Gerald Ford thing, I think, was probably one of the key moments in the show's history. And yeah, I mean, he was pretty hysterical. Like, he delivered, but then he bounced like midway through the second season. So not a lot of the prolificness, not really there at all. Where did I come up with here? Oh yeah. Athlete comparison, Terrell Owens. Kind of just comes in, becomes the star, becomes the center of attention, has to be the center of attention, and then figures out some way to just, blow it up and get the hell out of here because they're sick of him. That's pretty much Chevy Chase every place he's ever been. Apparently, nobody can stand this guy. So that's unfortunate. It didn't really affect my rankings too much. What did affect my rankings is I think there's a chance he could be higher if I was a little bit more familiar with those early episodes, which people do swear by as game changers in the history of comedy and television. And he was the first breakout star of the story. You cannot have this guy high enough, you can't. I won't argue with you, no matter how high you have this guy. And I mean, he's legit funny. Kind of a dick. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Although I do really like a lot of these people a lot. They seem really cool. Chevy Chase does not seem cool, but it is what it is. Thank you for your contributions to the Saturday Night Live legacy, which were immense. Let's get on to 22. This is another one that's difficult to rank, but here we go. Number 22, y'all. Iconic skit alert.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Star Wars, if they should bar wars, please let these Star Wars stay.
All right, before everybody gets their knickers in a twist, I want to make it very crystal clear that Bill Murray is in is easily in my top 10 all-time hilarious people rankings. Okay? You can't, once again, I'm okay with however high you want to rank this guy. This Bill Murray, he's in the short list of the greatest of all time. As far as SNL though, it's the 70s factor for me. I'm just not familiar. The next 21, I'm so much more familiar with their work on the show. So it's just really hard for these guys to crush. And I don't know. I did my research. I watched them back. It is what it is. The 70s shows are just, they just don't hit as hard for me. Maybe it was just a different era. I think they're great and worth watching. They just don't hit as hard for me. They didn't have a lot of 70s SNL on Comedy Central. They showed the 80s up the asshole. They really didn't. They didn't have the 70s. Like in the 90s, they showed reruns from 1980 on. 81 season on. They didn't show anything before that. Bill Murray, of course, also didn't come in. He wasn't in the first cast, so he replaced Chevy Chase. He was supposed to fill the tall guy slot. But man, I'm not gonna argue with anybody who has this guy super high because he's freaking Bill Murray. He's the greatest. I couldn't really figure out a comp for this guy. Go with Walt Frazier. I just feel like, who's the coolest athlete of all time? Walt Frazier? I mean, this is what I came up with. You know, just a great all-around game. Big-time scorer. Big-time distributor. Bill Murray worked well with others. He also got after it every once in a while, but he was just smooth. He's just the slickest comedian ever. I got Walt Frazier here. I mean, if you don't know about Walt Frazier, learn about it. Also great post SNL career. Walt Frazier, great post NBA career as one of the most iconic announcers of all time. All right, community rank 15. Yeah, we're only talking about 4 seasons here for your man Bill Murray. So, I mean, I appreciate the love for Bill Murray. I'm just, I got 21 people higher, and I feel pretty good about it. These next 21 have all made me laugh as far as their SNL work, a lot more than Bill Murray has. But, like I said, I haven't delved through all the 70s shows. They seem a little thin by comparison, but also you do have to factor in the groundbreakingness of it. It's tough. Number 21, y'all. Here's another one that a lot of people are going to say, too low, but that's the way it's going to be for all these.
I dropped down 7 feet onto the roof of a Long John Silver's. They threw out my pants separately. They missed the roof. My slacks landed in a frickin' pine tree 30 feet away. So I had to just chill up there with my damn coot and prune shoe till the place opened up.
All right, we got the legend Kate McKinnon. It's raining legends up in here. So I think for certain people, there is certain people that this is their all-timer. Kate McKinnon, who just basically I mean, she's pretty high in the prolific. She might have like one of the highest like sketches per show percentage. Yeah, for me, her era, I just didn't like. I just wasn't attached to the show as much during these years, and I don't know. Maybe she just needed a little more support for me to enjoy her a little bit more. But I don't know. I really like the 20 I got ahead of her, so I'm not really. It's good. I don't think it's gonna be a lack of episodes seen or, a lack of love for a certain cast. Also, I don't know. It's just I liken her. This is the out of all athletes that people swear are one of the greats of all time, that I just don't see it, is Kobe. That's my athlete comparison. Just a high volume scorer, And I see the talent. I get it. I understand why people like this person so much. Kobe's not an all-timer. I'm sorry. He just isn't. I don't know why people swear by him. Anyway, community came through for your girl Kate McKinnon. Number 11. So, there you go. So, these last three have been a little hot take-ish as far as ranking them too low. This one especially. So, I don't know. I think maybe there's just certain casts. I think I gave too much credit to the team. No, I gave the appropriate credit to the team. If you were part of a big time cast, you got bonus points in my book. It is what it is. All right. And just to be clear, it's not like I don't like, any particular season. I just feel the show wasn't as good for me. It didn't snag me. It didn't slay for me in those years that Kate McKinnon was dominating. And by the way, the Lakers suck. I just want to put that out there. All right, moving on. Shout out Kate McKinnon, man. I just want to make sure it's crystal clear. I got a lot of love for all these people. And I see where you guys are coming I see where you guys are coming from when you say Kate McKinnon is an all-timer. Getting into number 20.
And the rockets, red glare, the bombs bursting up in the air. Give a little through the bum night. And I've
Awesome. That is a fun sketch to revisit. All right, I got Maya Rudolph in here at number 20. And once again, I do feel like there's a ton of people that think Maya is one of the most talented cast members of all time. When you break it down, just all the things that she can do, she's pretty incredible. And she did have a little, there was a little moment where it was like Maya Rudolph was arguably the biggest star on the show. It was it was like her and Tina Fey neck and neck. Anyways, it was a very brief moment before some of these young guns came in around, I think it was 2005. They had a big influx of talent. And it was a little bit less about Maya at that point. But she still continued to deliver banger after banger. Lots and lots and lots of different stuff. Different characters. Tons of different characters. Let's go with the little athlete comparison here. Where the hell? I'm not really sure where I was going with this one. Let me just recap here. Tim Brown? Okay, so she came into the show. Lots of kind of unpolished talent, in my opinion. By the time she was done, she had all the little things down. She was like beating people less with her raw ability and more with her route running, her know-how. Tim Brown was a very excellent veteran. Maya Rudolph kind of just got better as the show went along. But anyway, shout out Maya Rudolph. This is another one where if you're saying like top contributors to SNL ever, then you could rank her higher. I would rank her much higher because I feel like her hosting has been pretty top tier. She's hosted several times and she usually brings back like one or two of her gal pals or other people from her time period, which is a loaded time period for SNL. And and then of course she did this whole Kamala Harris thing. And by the way, she just hung around and did all these other sketches. She's pretty prolific. I was actually kind of misremembering how many like iconic characters she had. and she's pretty good at itching my funny bone by just doing like a stupid voice, or like a foreign person, or just some sort of goofy little thing. Man, I gotta slow it down here. It's getting a little out of control. Oh, I skipped something here. I had a little side quest. Anyways, you guys had her at number 11. Oh yeah, they had the same points. Kate McKinnon and Maya Rudolph had the same net points. Number 11, tied for number 11. Anyways, Maya Rudolph is a lot of fun. I have a side quest though. I skipped this side quest. Side quest alert. This is my Pete Carroll with the Jets 5. What is the Pete Carroll with the Jets all about? What does this mean? Well, let me find my thing. What is this? I don't know. I don't remember what this is. I'm just kidding. I know what this is. I just have to find my graphic. I have a graphic for this. I lost it. Sausage alert. There it is. Alright, so Pete Carroll, that you guys might not remember, was the head coach of the Jets. It didn't go great. And he was let go immediately. But, you know, he was a great talent. It was probably just the wrong situation. Because the Jets, nobody was probably going to do all that great for the Jets. Because the Jets freaking suck. They always suck. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're on the Jets, it's probably not going to go well. So it wasn't really necessarily his fault, but it didn't work out. And he later went on to do great things. He led the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl championship. Mm-hmm. So here are my 5 cast members that did absolutely nothing for Saturday Night Live, but maybe could have if the situation was different. In another life, maybe these guys could have been on this list. Number 5. In the 80-81 season, Gilbert Gottfried. A lot of people don't know he was involved at all in Saturday Night Live. But there he was. He was very young and had a very forgettable tenure on one of the worst seasons of the show's history. So there's Gilbert Gottfried. Shout out Gilbert Gottfried, though. Always been a fan of his. I think in another era, it might have worked out. He might have done well. And Grip called it. Sarah Silverman. I believe she was on 93, 94. It was just, didn't do much. Was let go. I remember a couple update segments. Just kind of on the periphery. For whatever reason, she was very young. Didn't work out. Could have been dope. Probably a few years later, might have been awesome. I like these guesses. I like these guesses a lot. Shane Gillis didn't even make it to one episode. But yeah, that would have been he could have maybe fit in for this. Oh yeah, I'll just tell you. My initial list, I had Julia Louis-Dreyfus number 1, but then I was thinking, she actually did get a fair shake. She was there for 3 seasons, and she was plenty involved. I don't think that was the luck of I don't think it was bad luck. That wasn't a great era for Saturday Night Live, but she had a chance. So these are people that just, the situation sucked, and they barely even were a blip on the radar. Number 3. How about Robert Downey Jr.? Yeah, Ludio just jumped on it right there. The ill-fated 85-86 season. Another candidate for the worst season ever, Saturday Night Live. He was like 19 or something like that. And he, you know, if you watch those episodes, you're like, oh, that kid is actually, you're like, that kid's a star. But he just wasn't in too many good sketches because the whole show was just crapola. Same year, there was another guy that you could tell if you watched that this guy was a serious talent, but you probably didn't ever notice him doing anything all that funny on the show because it just wasn't that many funny moments that season. Number 2, Damon Wayans. I mean, we're talking about one of the all-time greatest sketch comedy dudes ever in living color. He was on Saturday Night Live, 1 season, sucked. He was actually fired because he did a little improv or something that he wasn't supposed to do, and he just got axed. But then they buried the hatchet, and he got to come back for the finale or something like that. Yeah, Damon Wayans was on the show, in case you didn't know. And this is the one that is probably the least, people have the least clue about this. Barely even did anything for the show at all. And said, you know what? I'm going to do my own damn thing. See you later. Ben Stiller. They couldn't find a space for young Ben Stiller. So he said, I'm out of here. He just wasn't feeling it. This is a bizarre list of people. I think had they come in a couple years later with the, had a more definable role, might have worked out awesome for him. That's my Pete Carroll with the Jets 5. Not even a seasoned Ben Stiller. Of course, shout out Ben Stiller though. If you guys remember, he came back and did the that hilarious, it was an Adam McKay thing with Will Ferrell playing Glenn Fry and Ben Stiller, the H is O. So he ended up doing some dope stuff, to say the least. All right, moving on with the list. Here's another one that's just really impossible to rank. These are just, I think Jenny Slate is, I feel like she got a fair shake because she was in a lot of sketches. But I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why she was let go exactly. I like the Ben Stiller show. Moving on with the list. This one feels low, to say the least. Here we go. I think for our generation, this one's a favorite.
Most people have hair for a mustache, but not me. I have a damn pickle. The result is quite obvious. I'm a freak. Now give me some candy and fuck it over. I'm crazy tickle off. Look at me. I have one normal arm and one arm made out of a damn pickle.
All right, Adam Sandler, the legend, who crushed it last night, by the way. Number 19 on the countdown. This is a tough one. I think a lot of people are going to misremember the Adam Sandler tenure, which was solid. 19 level. If you were around at that time, Adam Sandler was a very big deal because he was like the young kooky guy. Like the late 80s was one of my favorite era because it was kind of sophisticated. Like they had a lot of like, it wasn't like dumb humor. It was like, really like well thought out sketches. So when they brought in like Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, and some of these other guys, Schneider, Spade, it was like, all right, we got some just kind of like silly stuff here. Like the show really needed it at that point. It kind of swung too far the one direction. So he was really speaking to us, 10-year-olds at the time. And then the thing that makes this hard is why I'm okay with people putting him higher, but they're going to misremember it. I mean, Adam Sandler is like, one of the most legendary, just like comedian people. Like, it had more to do with like the albums and the movies, obviously. But we're going to go with Chris Webber here. Go C-Web. I think this guy was kind of just came in as a sensation. And it was like, rookie year, you're thinking like, all right, this guy's going to go down as one of the greats. And then just kind of for whatever reason, just kind of wore out his welcome a little bit. Golden State, Washington, kind of just wasn't really going awesome. Did come back with the Kings, but I don't know. This also just kind of like, just like young, like swag, like just kind of like representing the next generation at the time. C-Web, very talented. And you know what? Lockstep on this one. Comedians got him at 18. I did go back and I think that there was this thing where after like Dana Carvey left and then to more extent after Phil Hartman left, it was like the show kind of went off the rails a little bit. It probably had more to do with just those guys not being around, but there was this like reputation that guys like Sandler and Farley were kind of not really doing a great job at like carrying the show, and just basically that Farley was out of control and Sandler maybe just didn't take it seriously enough or whatever. It just wasn't an amazing run. The end of Sandler's run kind of goes down as sort of a dark cloud in the SNL era, but I don't know. I kind of watched some of those skits. They're not that bad. He did all right. But anyway, he's at 19 here. Let's keep it going. Adam Sandler, man, I feel like I'm just running through these. I want to go through all their iconic characters and everything, but we just don't have time. I watched The Lunch Ladyland like about an hour ago, and that was pretty freaking great. I forgot how good that was. Or The Lunch Lady, the Sloppy Joe and all this. Adam Sandler did tickle my funny bone quite a bit on the show, but he definitely was a lot funnier with his movies and the albums especially. Moving on.
Oh my God, Rick! Rick, can I have a sip of your soda for sustenance?
No more soda for you.
Yeah, I can't have any more soda because one time I drank a ton of Mountain Dew and I stayed up all night and then I was like, oh, what a beautiful morning! Oh, what a beautiful day! And then the next day, I was super grumpy. Remember that, Rick?
We got Amy Poehler here at number 18. This is a interesting thing about Amy Poehler is I feel like she's probably the least controversial member of SNL ever. I think everybody just kind of likes Amy Poehler. I don't think anybody's like, she's my favorite. Everybody's just kind of like, good job, Amy Poehler. I got her as Lauren Jackson of the Seattle Storm. What's the comparison here? This is an athlete that people kind of knew was going to be good as soon as before she even started. She was good. She had a great career, and it went very uncontroversially. Just came in, was an MVP candidate, bounced a couple championships. Not much discussion. If people remember, Amy Poehler was on the Upright Citizens Brigade on SNL. I mean, I think anybody who was like a big sketch comedy head just kind of knew, oh, they got Amy Poehler. That's going to work out. She's going to deliver. She had a way deeper bag than I expected. She, definitely did not expect her to someday, land on Update. Also, she's a pretty elite freestyler. Just want to put that out there. But just had a pretty good amount of funny characters, a lot of high energy characters, decent amount of just being in a sketch, just helping out someone else who's going for big buckets. Amy Poehler, we all love you. I'm okay with somebody having her higher for sure. These next few is where my list goes a little bit off the rails, especially after all the people we just did. It's going to get a little bit wacky. Folks, buckle up.
You, watching this at home, worship me. I command you, become my willing thralls and live eternally.
That's all for this edition of the People's Court.
Oh, the sweet, sublime feeling of complete obedience to your evil master. Come, serve me, the Prince of Darkness. I command it. Serve me.
Let's go.
Wait 1 second. Obey me.
Remember.
A lot of great characters. A lot of great characters for sure. It's your boy John Lovitz. Why do I still have the 17 up there? Get out of here. Get out of here. Not everybody's a big fan of John Lovitz. That's okay. I love John Lovitz. I don't know. I thought the vast majority of his characters were some high comedy. And I think I have him rated quite highly because I do feel like when he had the liar guy, that was like the one character that people could really cling on to for that disastrous 1985-86 season. I think he did it like 8 times over the course of that season or something. It just like that was probably the most overrun recurring in the history of Saturday Night Live because they had absolutely nothing else. That season was a disaster. People love the liar guy. I love the liar guy. But in my opinion, this is like one of the most important cast members because if he hadn't have been there doing that, doing all that stuff, and he had, other stuff that was great, like the acting guy. I love the acting guy. Then I don't know if the show survives. So I got him a little higher than most. And then, like I said, for some reason, I just think that the late 80s guys, that cast, I just feel like I'm just going to rank every single one of them higher than most. I watched those episodes a lot. I liked just, it wasn't dumb humor. It was like sophisticated stuff compared to most Saturday Night Live. And he had a great rapport with Phil Hartman when they did the one about you'll never act again in this town, all that stuff. He had a lot of great characters. That was a great era for me. Oh yeah, the athlete comparison. Icky Woods, of course. Dynamic rookie season. Kind of short career. Had everybody doing the Icky Shuffle. John Lovitz had everybody saying that's the ticket. Huge impact. Icky Woods, John Lovitz. This one feels really good. That feels like a great comparison. So he comes in at 26. And I think you guys are probably closer to where he should be. I think that I just have like a ridiculous affinity for the late 80s cast. It's just the way it goes. It is what it is. There's some bias in the mix, perhaps. Guess what? That's not my wackiest ranking. This one is. This one is.
Oh, my God. Hey, Adele. Did you drop something?
Huh? Well, now that you're around, I'm hoping to drop something. I was talking about my panties. You see, I'd have to take them off for you to see my naked genitalia.
The girl who's terrible at innuendo, Sherry O'Terry, comes in at number 16. This one, I think, is by far my biggest reach of this whole thing. I think a lot of people just Sherry O'Terry was a bit much for some people. I thought she was awesome. I thought she had a lot of big hits for me. I think the Spartan Cheerleaders was top tier. And I think she had a lot of pretty memorable characters. The I Keep It Now girl. And this was, what's this chick's name? She's like the heavily medicated character. Colleen something. And then there's the Simba Damna. I think that, once again, Lifeline. I think that the show was in flux. 95, 96, you needed people like Sherry O'Terry, Will Ferrell, and Molly Shannon. They saved the show once again. So, I don't know. I just watched all these episodes. I thought Sherry O'Terry was wacky as hell. I feel like she just does not. The Morning Latte. Thank you. God, that was good. I thought she delivered. I thought she was one of the most efficient cast members as far as just delivering laughs. This is a really good comparison. Athlete comparison, Isaiah. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Hold up. It's Isaiah Pacheco. Not Pachenko or Pachero. All right, let's just leave it. Isaiah Pachero. I don't know what's going on here. This thing just went to shit. So we're just going to leave it as Isaiah Pachero. Who's just you just gonna have to take it. You just have to roll with it. We gotta roll with the changes here. Where the hell did my thing go? Where's my thing? Whatever. Do you guys see where we're going with this though? This is just a ball of energy. This just going crazy. Like Isaiah Pacheco gets the ball and it's just like it's just out of control. It's just like there's just a lot of energy and it's gonna be something crazy is gonna happen. Either, it might, even if it's like a 2-yard gain, Pacheco is just gonna just run super hard. And I thought this is just a ball of energy. How come I can't edit this shit? What's going on here? Hopefully that's the last screw up. Not bad though. So yeah, community rank 32, whatever. I could see how she might not be for everybody, but I loved her, and I feel like she was really good. And I think a lot of people really like Sherry O'Terry. Just for whatever, I think people kind of forget about her because she didn't really do much after SNL. So that's my theory on that. Okay, let's do another side quest, y'all. Side quest. Who's ready for a side quest? Who's got side quest fever? Oh yeah, Dan, you missed the Pete Carroll with the Jets 5. All right, we're gonna do the Kylo Ren 5. Kylo Ren 5 coming at you. What is the Kylo Ren 5? These are... Why did I make it so hard to find these stupid things? The side quests are kind of like a little bit of a challenge to locate. There's one. Where's the other one? There it is. All right, this is 5 recurring sketches. Not necessarily the best recurring sketches, but the 5 that I just want more of. I just want more of these sketches. These never got old for me. Every time that there was any hit on SNL ever, the writers, Lauren Michaels would say, "More! We want more!" And they did it until they ran it into the ground. Just about every time. These are 5 that I think they could have gone more with. These are just elite recurring sketches that I personally never got old. I never got sick of these. There's been a lot of great ones. The egg burps on W. What is that? But yeah, here we go. This first one's not for everybody, but this one I couldn't get enough of this one. Californians. We got Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, just cracking each other up. And I don't know. It's a silly little premise, but just them talking about the routes around Southern California just fucking kills me every time. It just kills me every fucking time. I feel like they did about 7 or 8 or 9 of these, and I don't think it got old once. They kept getting more outlandish. I was a fan. Californians, I was really excited to see they brought that back for that VW commercial. That's my number 5 on the all-timers for Kylo Ren 5. Number 4, MacGruber. Elite. Absolutely murderous, recurring sketch featuring Will Forte and usually Kristen Wiig. Stupid as all hell. Just a straight up dumbass premise that for some reason always got big laughs. I don't know. I don't know how they pulled it off, but I also don't think it ever got old ever. They could have MacGrubered. They could have MacGruber for another few seasons, in my opinion. Let's give a shout out to the old one. I just want to put it out there that this is an elite sketch. Obviously, it's not one of my favorites, but it's one of the ones when doing research of this. It was funnier than I thought it would be. The Coneheads. Top-notch stuff. Dan Aykroyd, Jane Curtin, Lorraine Newman. Lorraine Newman I kind of did not have her ranked, but when she does the whole stupid thing about like being like, oh baby, it's pretty high comedy. And then I don't know, I just really like these characters a lot, and it seemed like most of those sketches were pretty top tier, with the rest of the cast sort of reacting to the Coneheads. Everybody had a lot to do in these sketches. Shout out to the Coneheads. Number 2. Seems like this is a popular one with the crew. This never got old, not for even 1 second. What's up with that? Kenan Thompson, Fred Armisen, Jason Sudeikis, Bill Hader, all delivering elite performances. Obviously, Kenan Thompson carries this. This never got old. They did plenty of these. It never got old. Not at all. This was probably the one thing that I wanted the most to happen last night. And they didn't do it, which is sad, but it's okay. What's up with that? Thanks for the memories. Top tier stuff. And my number 1, I think it's a pretty obvious one, is Wayne's World. I mean, Mike Myers, Dana Carvey. Some of the most hilarious sketches ever in Saturday Night Live were Wayne's World sketches. And this was the thing that carried the most elite time period in Saturday Night Live, in my opinion. These are the 5 I could come up with. I love Continental. There's probably some other really good ones here. I just wanted to shout out these 5. Continental is a great choice. There's a bunch of classics. I just wanted to talk about these. You guys tell me your favorites. Recurring sketches. But anyway, this is a little side quest here. The Kylo Ren 5. I want more. I never got enough of these. I got plenty, but I wanted more. Kylo Ren 5. Thanks for playing. All right, moving on to number 15. Number 15 on the list. This was a tough one to rank. Feel pretty good about this one. It's a little bit of a shocker.
Shit, go home. Get back on San Vicente, take it to the 10, then switch over to the 405 North and let it dump you out into Mulholland where you belong.
We got Fred Armisen here, number 15. This is a guy that I will confess hits the comedy notes a little bit harder for me than most. I get it. Here's my thing with Fred Armisen. I do wonder if maybe I'm having a little trouble getting Portlandia out of my mind when I ranked him, but this is a pretty high ranking for Fred Armisen, who not a lot of people talk about. So I liken him to, you guys will probably get this one right away. It's Paul Silas, obviously. This is the guy that played a ton of games and won everywhere he went. Won championships with the Celtics, won a championship with the Sonics, playing key roles, just gobbling up rebounds, playing elite defense, and just being a glue guy. I think Fred Armisen, his whole tenure was pretty elite for Saturday Night Live, and you'll see he's got things where he's in tandem with just about every single player from that cast. He could just slide him in. He can just do everything. You need somebody to do an impression for like 15 seconds and just get a laugh. He'll do it. You need him to go for big laughs. I mean, he had that too, but I think the thing that I like more about Fred Armisen than most is like he had these characters where he would just commit to this one extremely dry bit and then just play it until people laughed. It was like there was this one character, he was like the political commentary guy that would like read the headlines and then just say like, oh, what, you can't print that. That character, like every time he did that, Nobody was laughing at all until he did like the 4th time, and then everybody was dying. He had the Native American comic. He has those are the characters. Those are the types of characters I like more than most people. And like the one that we see here, what he did with that with Kristen Wiig, I don't know, man. He always had me on the verge of crack up. Community rank is a little less love for Fred. But let's talk about this 11 seasons. Come on, son. That's big work. That's big work. Oh man, I don't know, man. I think you guys might have missed the boat on Fred Armisen. And then just, once again, I'm not sure if maybe Portlandia is seeping in because I love Portlandia a lot. And that's obviously like featuring him on 90% of all sketches there. All right. Let's keep it going. Paul Silas, by the way, not talked about enough as well. One of the all-time greats. Here's another one that people are going to be like, oh. Who's left that's a little bit out there? Anybody, any guesses for this? Who's left that's a little bit out there? Any guesses? On with the video.
Your Honor, I'd like to say something if I could, please.
Excuse me, are you a relative of the plaintiff?
I am her mother.
And what is your occupation?
I am a barfly.
And by that you mean you loiter in bars waiting for men you don't know to buy you drinks?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Jan Hooks, number 14. Learn about it. So, once again, late 80s cast. First of all, hard to even find a clip of Jan Hooks online. Couldn't hear her sketch. Bummer. The rest of them were working though. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Maybe I can get it pumped up here.
Your Honor, I'd like to say something.
No, it's just a little quiet. Yeah. For some reason, it just doesn't have the juice. Basically, it's hard to find Jan Hooks clips online. First of all, my favorite character of hers, Sweeney's sister, which, by the way, was Nora Dunn. That's why Nora Dunn's on the list. She carried those sketches. She was she absolutely dominated with those. The 80s was like, it wasn't a lot of, so once it got into the 90s, it was like, everybody had like their recurring characters, like, oh, this, and they had their own like theme song. It's like, here comes Wacky Jane, and she's always doing this. The late 80s were like high concept, like this Brenda Waitress one, like it's just an ensemble cast. Everybody's, pitching in, and like, it's almost like it's more like just great acting than even funny. I don't know. I like the style of the late 80s more than most people. Jan Hooks was just an absolutely top tier actress. She could do anything on the show. And I don't know. I think she's a lot like, last night Tina Fey said that Jan Hooks is her favorite all-time cast member. I liken her to Cheryl Swoops. This is somebody that people for some reason are not talking about too much anymore. But in her day, there was no doubt Cheryl Swoops was one of the great women's basketball players. Just like Jan Hooks would have been on the short list. Everybody's top comedians. And for some reason, she's just not talked about enough. But the streets remember. The streets remember Jan Hooks. The streets remember Cheryl Swoops. Look at that. Community ranking 29. It's okay. I'm not really that mad about it because if you like laugh out loud moments, pretty low. I just really like this style. Like these sketches were just a little bit more high concept. And I think that if you like really, really watch those episodes, you'll just be like, Jan Hooks is one of the most talented actresses ever, and definitely one of the most talented comedians ever. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough times for ladies in the 80s on SNL. Jan Hooks brought the ruckus. Next thing you know, there's a bunch of them. And, you know, it finally culminated to like 2004. It was basically being carried by like Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Rachel Dratch. So, and then, you know, nowadays it's like the women definitely are getting most of the laughs on the show. So I think it all traces back to Jan. I think that the show needed Jan in a big way. I think she's one of the most important cast members. And like I said, the show was on life support until Jan Hooks and the rest of these gang came in 1986. So you can't rank these guys high enough, in my opinion. I love those shows. I love those shows. She had a deep bag of tricks. Okay, that is the end of that tier. Now we're into... Now, actually, this guy bridges the gap. I think most people got this guy about here. Thanks for watching, everybody. This was a really a lot of fun to revisit all this SNL history. And here's a guy. I mean, this guy.
Talk to me about no Kobe Bryant. My offspring is gonna rule the world. Just look at me. I am a giant. All right. Full head of hair. 12 fingers. I could pull a tractor trailer 20 miles over a mountain using only my junk. And I'm the only man on earth who's ever eaten just one Lay's potato chip.
Imagine trying to pick a Kenan Thompson clip. Probably has the most clips available to choose from. Hard to pick a character for Kenan Thompson. Comes in number 13 here. We're gonna go with Yarmer Yager. Just a guy who just hung around surprisingly long. Just like just confusing. Like why are you still here? But obviously still contributing. So can't get too mad at it. I don't think that. I think Kenan Thompson has pretty high approval rating in the SNL community, and I mean the dude is just out there just crushing it, man. Like, dude, last night Kenan had a bunch more big moments. He's just a natural. And he brings a lot to the party. He's got all the music stuff, which is awesome. He's got impressions. He's got original characters, and probably his biggest contribution to the show, in my opinion, is just somebody else is doing something completely off the wall, and they just cut to Kenan making a little face, and it just delivers home how funny the other thing is. I think that's his greatest contribution to the show, and he's got many contributions to the show. How many contributions? Well, 22 seasons worth of contributions. So nobody's gonna have Kenan Thompson as their number one. Well, you know, they might. I think from here on out, this is the people you could make a case for being number one. So, I mean, 22 seasons, you can't argue with that. And I think it's his biggest accomplishment is just how little people are sick of him. I don't think anybody's like, come on, Kenan. Guess to move on. They're like, you know what? If you're gonna keep doing what you're doing on the show, we're here for it. So, bangers, lots of bangers. Moving on, number 12. Once again, after Kenan Thompson, this might have been the most difficult to like try to iron in on a clip for this person, but I found a pretty good one.
Look, I'm Kate Moss. Somebody give me a sandwich.
All right, you need to work it, you need to twerk it, you need to freak it, and you need to tweak it.
Tweak it, not leak it, Hoda. Hoda, cut one, everyone.
All right,
give me
okay,
a little
girls.
bit of
All
room
right, look.
here. Just a little bit of room here.
Okay, yeah, no. All right, just shake your butt. Shake your butt like you're trying to make come loose. Oh, it's a little too much.
Hoda's down. We got a hoe down.
Yup. Yeah, I'm okay with that. This is number 12 for me. Direct hit for Dan. Yeah, this I think well, let's just get into the athlete comparison here. The picture. I think for a certain generation, they're going to say that Kristen Wiig is the GOAT. She's the GOAT comedian on the show. And I think that if you look at the over the raw stats, maybe the YouTube hits, it's kind of like hard to argue, you know? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to refute the claims of Kristen Wiig as the GOAT. Just like it's going to be impossible or tough to, you know, refute the LeBron James raw numbers. I think that's my comparison for this. But also, just like LeBron, she could dish it out a little bit. She worked in tandem with others, but for the most part, the comparison kind of falls flat when you consider that Kristen Wiig was a volume scorer. Most of the time when she was on the screen, they were drawing up a play for her to get a bucket, and she had an absolute bevy of characters, just an absolute deluge of characters. And I love this era of the show. I think this 7 years here that she was on, for me, it's a noticeable drop after she leaves. For me, I think that this 7-year span was maybe my second favorite all time. After the very brief early 90s period where Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey crossed over with Chris Farley and Adam Sandler. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who's my favorite Kristen Wiig character, I wonder. I like the actress who's always talking about her terrible plays when she's doing Password, to name one. I think a lot of people actually don't like Kristen Wiig. Just so happens that our community is into her and respects her, which is good. But she had some grating characters. There was a little Sherry O'Terry factor with her. So I think maybe you poll more people, I don't think she's going to be number 6. That's just how I feel. I'm not one of them. I respect the greatness that is Kristen Wiig. I got her number 12, which I thought was going to be right on the money. But we got some Kristen Wiig peeps in the mix. Community rank 6. Shout out to y'all and your girl, Kristen Wiig. Moving on to number 11. All right. I think I need to re-up on the drink. I'll just do it while we're watching this clip. Enjoy.
I'm having a meltdown! I don't know which way is up! I'm on the verge of losing it, okay?
Hey, you guys see they just canceled that show Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23?
What? Not the bee! That's bonkers!
One of Bill Hader's dumbest characters. Usually he went for I got the whole thing up here. That's not supposed to be on there yet. Usually he went for a little bit more high concept characters than that, but he could also do the dumb characters. I liken him to Josh Allen. This is a guy who's maybe as talented as anybody who's ever done it. I mean, I think you could say he brought the most overall talent to the table. You could say that. But he didn't go for the easy laughs most of the time. He usually went for the more high concept stuff, like doing a Vincent Price oriented sketch where he talks to actors that nobody's ever heard of in the 50s and 60s. That was more his taste. Just like Josh Allen is, could get you some easy yards, but he kind of is more, at least in his early career, was more about the degree of difficulty stuff. going for the wild off the wall plays. So yeah, community rank 9. So that must have been Shermie really bringing the Bill Haderness. Yeah. That's why it's too soon. Yeah, that was a good play. That's why I picked that. That's why I picked that clip, because the Niners got effed on that. So yeah, we're here at number 11 for Bill Hader. I mean, I don't know, man. He was 8 seasons. Like I said, I love this era a lot. It's like just an absolute. I mean, you can see Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Andy Samberg, Jason Sudeikis. Maya Rudolph for most of it. It was an absolutely stacked unit with a deep bench. And I don't know. I think I really appreciate the Bill Hader sort of like just the deep cuts with him. And if you look back, you'll be like, God dang, that dude had a lot of characters on the show. Also, yeah, his impressions were like, he had the best impressions as far as like, oh, that that sounds exactly like the guy he's impersonating. Like his like talent of like just like coming up with different voices was like probably the best ever on the show. What up, fam? This is not video game related. I'm stepping out. We're talking about Saturday Night Live. Am I gonna see you Saturday, by the way, bud? All right. Alan Alda. I know these characters. Bill Hader's so good. It's getting tough. It's getting tough. I got a lot of love for all these guys, but man, it's getting tough here. Bill Hader out of the top 10 is rough. It is rough. But here we go. Oh, hold up. Okay, last side quest. This is the most intense one of all of them. Leo da Vinci 5. Yeah, we're doing it. Where's the, I can never find these things. It's really killing it. All right, here we go. Where is it? What do you think this is? This is the last side quest. I think it's the hottest side quest there is. It's the merchant motive side quest. I'm talking top 5 sketches ever on the show. Just like how Leo da Vinci had some of the elite sketches of all time. Here we go. The Leo da Vinci 5. These are the top 5 sketches ever. In my opinion. Yeah, we're going for it. This might actually be the apex of the show right here. Doing this shit. Here we go. Top 5 ever. I don't have clips though. Sorry to say. Number 5. James Brown. Too hot in the hot tub. Eddie Murphy. Iconic. This is I don't know. Do I need to explain it? If you haven't seen it, he's James Brown. He's dancing around. He's trying to get into a hot tub. It takes forever because it's too hot in the hot tub. This is one of those ones where you just gotta see it to believe it. I think that this is one of the most legendary sketches. I don't think I'm alone on that one at all. That's number 5. Number 4. Celebrity Jeopardy. Specifically, ooh, did I spell Jeopardy wrong? Doesn't matter. Is that how you spell Jeopardy? Doesn't matter. It's Jeopardy, isn't it? Damn it. And I can't change it. Why is these locked in? Specifically, the Norm Macdonald doing Burt Reynolds with the funny hat. It's a funny hat. Is that how you spell it? Yeah, I don't know how to spell it. Jeopardy, right? Doesn't matter. These were all good, but this one I think just for some reason just went to another level. I don't know why I can't change it. It should be easy, but I'm working with some new stuff here. A lot of sausage. If you had any idea how much time I spent on this goddamn effing stream, you would be amazed that there was only a couple mistakes. But yeah, Norm Macdonald. The Daryl Hammond, Will Ferrell dynamic was always top tier for these sketches. But when Norm did the Burt Reynolds and was wearing a funny hat, that was the thing that put this one over the top. I think at the time, I think I watched this one about 30 times, honestly. And it was just an iconic sketch for my peoples of that era. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by this one at all. Number 3. Most people my age can just quote the entire sketch. The first Matt Foley sketch, Van Down by the River. You guys know it. Dad, I wish you would shut your yapper. I think this one had about 3 lines in it that people just could not stop saying in that era. And it was hilarious. And then he crushes the table. David Spade cannot control himself. Christina Applegate's involved. Phil Hartman plays an iconic glue guy character. There was a lot. Actually more Matt Foley's than I remember when I was doing the research. But this one is elite. Just every little beat of it is just epic. Number 3 all time on the sketches. Number 2. This is the Leonardo da Vinci 5, by the way. More cowbell. A lot of people got this number 1. I think this is possibly the one with the highest approval rating of all SNL heads. This came out, I would think it was a sophomore in college. And yeah, I think I watched it live with about 4 other dudes in college, and we just could not get over it. We just were talking about it like the entire night. We just kept rehashing it over and over again. And I don't think I need to explain this. Will Ferrell just at his absolute apex. They did a whole thing about this for the 50 year. They did a whole show about just this sketch, which Will Ferrell wrote. He just remembered some moment when he listened to this as a kid and was thinking I wonder what would be the life of the cowbell player. What's his life? And what if that was all he did? And apparently they tried to do this with Norm Macdonald as the Bruce Dickinson character. But it didn't. It got cut or something. But then when Christopher Walken came in, he just brought a little different energy to the party, and just took it over the top. Yeah, the Christopher Walken's the X factor in this sketch. Yeah, this one. It's either this or Celebrity Jeopardy is the one that I've watched the most for most sketches ever. Number 1. I'm going with Lazy Sunday. For number 1. The video that launched YouTube. And then this is maybe just a little bit just sort of enhanced by all the great Lonely Island.
Dick in a box.
That was my mom. Dick in the Box and everything else that came after it with Lonely Island. I feel like it's somewhat elevated by just this first mega hit that they had. And I was so pumped up when they did this Friday night and they came out. Chris Parnell, Andy Samberg, just crushing it. The beat is just so fucking hard. This is my favorite sketch of all time. This is my favorite one. I think this is a pretty solid 5. I like my top 5. The Leo 5. Learn about it. Okay, moving on. Top 10 players. Top 10 cast members in SNL history. The proud history of SNL. Here we go. I think the top 10 itself that I picked is very uncontroversial. The order is a little controversial. It's a little controversial, y'all. Buckle up. Number 10.
Now I'm getting a little verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. The radical reconstruction of the South after the Civil War was neither radical nor a reconstruction. Discuss. There, I feel better.
Yeah, it's Mike Myers, fam. Wayne Campbell himself. That's just a mistake. Is there an E in there? No, I think it's just Mike Myers like that. Right? I actually don't know. So yeah, Mr. Canada himself. I felt like I had to go hockey with this one. So we're going to go with Super Mario Lemieux, who I feel like everybody knows is the top 10 player of all time, but nobody's going to make the case that he's number 1. Can do a little bit of everything, had different ways to score, mostly as the focal point of the offense. Yeah, Mike Myers was very, he had a lot of characters. He had a lot of characters, and he really ushered in my opinion, the era of, like, most of the sketches are going to be like, hey, here's this character, here's the, like, little opening credit sequence, like, it's like, I am Simon, and these are my drawings. I don't remember how that one went at all, but it seemed like most of his sketches were kind of that, and that kind of revolutionized the game a little bit. And in the early 90s, that was a lot of fun. Community's got him number 10. There you go. Comes in 89, ended up going till 95. So he was there sort of during that disastrous 94-95 season, and he did his best, though. I do remember he still had a lot of really good characters up till the end. And yeah, obviously this one's probably just ranked because Wayne's World, I mean, he's definitely helped by the fact that, like, Wayne's World was such a amazing movie, and it's you know, and then he goes on to do these all-time classics. Austin Powers. Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of like, if you look back, there's like, it's a little, I don't know, like the mid 90s is just a big strug, and he's just kind of in there flailing away. There was one really iconic sketch that I forgot about where he goes into Melrose Place as Wayne Campbell after Dana Carvey left the show, that I kind of forgot about. I don't know, man. He's freaking Mike Myers, y'all. Do I need to explain it? How about Lothar of the Hill People? There's just too many to name for this guy. He had, gosh, what was the other one I just really liked? The Hypo kid. And then he kind of went away for a while. Like, have you noticed that he had that little era? He's kind of resurfaced a little bit lately, but he kind of just went into seclusion. But yeah, no, exactly. Like, I can see how maybe some people might not like love him, but I feel like for those of us of this age, Mike Myers is as epic as it gets for the sketch comedy. All right, and I love Wayne's World. I love the shit out of Wayne's World. All right, number 9. Here we go.
Buries the tray!
He hasn't even shot yet.
And Thunder Dan is in fuego!
Why are you talking about Dan Barter? That guy ain't played in 20 years. How do you even know who he is?
That'll move the chains.
Now he switched to football. I heard. Danny, what's wrong with you again?
I have OCD.
Yeah, so of course, Mr. Lonely Island here, Andy Samberg. If I got Lazy Sunday at number 1 all-time sketch, you know that maybe Andy Samberg is going to fare pretty well for the list. We're talking about somebody who changed the game right here. Oops. If you don't know who that is, I don't know what to tell you. This is the guy. I just remember when he joined the show, I was like, this dude is annoying. Like, he's just like that typical, like, just goofy guy. Like, put Bill Hader in more. Like, I was like, I just remember, like, they even did this sketch, like, maybe like the first or second episode where it was like Bill Hader doing like perfect impressions and Andy Samberg doing terrible impressions. And I was like, this Andy Samberg guy is like, he's a dork. Like, I don't need this guy. Like, I just don't need this guy. And then, you know, he started doing good stuff, and, you know, obviously the Lonely Island thing jumped off. But then by the end of it, I was like, this guy is great. He is the guy who, maybe his impressions aren't like spot on, but they were all funny. Like, he just find some way to make every sketch funny that he was in. He was elite. He was elite. And then, you know, the digital shorts cannot be talked about too much again. The tape segments, yes, there is you could make the case that it's a little bit easier to be funny in a tape segment than in the live sketch. But those were some of the best content of the show. So it is what it is. Andy Samberg comes in number 9 for me. I like the way the Wahlberg thing. I mean, like, that's just stupid. Like, was that something Wahlberg ever said? I don't know, but he just made it funny, and everything was like that with this guy. Like, he did a Nick Cage that is just a terrible impression, but just for whatever reason, he just comes up with stuff to make it funny. He's got one of the highest batting averages ever on the show, for me. I think I got this guy too low, honestly. The Lonely Island records, which don't matter for the rankings, are, you know, I played all of them. I played the shit out of all of them. I can't get enough of this guy, dude. And just shout out to Kiva and Yorma, his Lonely Island brethren, who helped carry him a little bit. But that's all part of the package here. With my number 9, Andy Samberg, if somebody says he's number 1, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. He was that funny, and he's still. I think that the funniest thing that happened this whole weekend was him doing the Lonely Island medley, maybe. All right, here's another one that's a number 1 for a lot of people. But I got number 8 here. So this is tough. This is tough. I hope my mom went to bed and is not watching this anymore. She's going to come up here and slap me if she's still awake.
Dear Rosanna Dana, last Thursday I quit smoking. I'm depressed, I gained weight, my face broke out, I'm nauseous, I'm constipated, my feet swelled, my gums are bleeding, my sinuses are clogged, I got heartburn, I'm cranky, and I have gas. What should I do? Mr. Fader, you sound like a real attractive guy. You belong in New Jersey.
All right, we got Gilda here at number 8. This is my mom's number 1, actually. Number 1 for my mom. I got her list right here. So she's in the contention for number 1. She's in the contention for number 1. We're gonna go with Caitlin Clark for this one. I feel like she changed the game. She changed the game. I just did Steph Curry, which is ridiculous, but in a similar way, Gilda changed the game, and I think that Caitlin Clark, my prediction is that there will be a lot of people that talk about Caitlin Clark as the reason they got into basketball, just as Gilda was the reason they got into sketch comedy. I just don't think there was anything like Gilda before Gilda came along. Maybe there was a few that were, obviously shout out Lily Tomlin, Goldie Hawn, but Gilda could do it all. She had about a zillion, iconic characters. And honestly, after I made my list and I went back and actually watched a bunch of sketches to try to find clips and stuff, I was actually quite surprised at how funny her stuff was and how much I was laughing at her bits. The 70s stuff is a bit of a blind spot for your boy. So this is what's going to happen here. Buckle up. If you're watching and you're over a certain age, hopefully my mom went to bed. I don't think she did because I just heard her say something in the basement. Just buckle up. I'm sorry. But the community is not too far off on this one. They got her at number 12. I just think most people just haven't really enjoyed the Gilda experience. Yeah, I think once again, I feel like if Mom's got her number 1, if you have her number 1, I'm not going to argue. I feel like she's as critical as anything to the history of the show. Just the fact that she existed is a big part of why we're in year number 50 here. I think it's as important as anything, and quite honestly, her stuff holds up a little bit better than you might expect. So, okay, yeah, well, all right. So 3 letters off, not bad, not bad. All right, let's go number 7. Well, once again, apologies to certain people out there. We are in every single person from here on out is a number 1 contender. What's going on here? I'm looking for. Can't find the thing. I'm gonna just get this loaded up because I'm a little confused about my sausage here. Hold up. Oh, I got it here. Okay, cool. Here we go.
Oh, what's this? Dear John, whatever your demands are, they will be met. Hey, what'd I say? But before we discuss those demands in greater detail, may we say how very much we admire your acting work. We enjoy all your characterizations, though our favorites would have to be your samurai, your Brando, your Bee, your Joe Cocker, your Live from New York and Saturday Night. No, wait, stop! No!
It's the legend. It's John Belushi coming in at number 7 for me. This is my mom's number 2. I got her list right here. The guy who carried the early shows just as much as she did, and just as much as another person from the 70s did that you guys have noticed in the chat. Athlete comparison, this one's a little bit out there, but Albert Bell, kind of just a physical force of nature that really dominated, and just occasionally would just do something that kind of made you, probably would have hurt the team a little bit. Just a little something that was a little selfish, and also drugs heavily involved with both these guys, probably. So the community comes in number 6 here for his 4 seasons. He bounced to make Blues Brothers. So he was a year less than the likes of Gilda, Jane, Bill Murray, Lorraine Newman, and Garrett Morris, but did do 4 seasons. He had the first sketch in the history of the show. That's a good question, Ludio. I like that. Yeah, basically just a physical force of nature, and he just had all these little subtle little moves that would just crush the audience, like the little eyebrow raise, and just a great actor. Shout out to the movie Animal House. I just want to point that out there, that he was fucking amazing in that. and you know, Blues Brothers. He was a friggin' talent. He did the, you know, he could really sing. He was like a major talent who also had elite comic timing. He had some classic characters, the samurai, the cheeseburger guy. Yeah, it's all it is just when I watch the 70s stuff, which by the way is funny. I do like it a lot. It just doesn't tickle me as much as everything that came after it. That's all it is. That's all it is. Like John Belushi, I recognize the talent. And once again, if you want to put dudes, 70s guys, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's fine. Because these are the guys that put the template down, that built the house that everybody else has been playing in since. But just for me, like that stuff just doesn't really, the comedy factor just isn't as much for me. Like I like it, it's just not, I don't know. And also I think maybe there might have been like a higher degree of difficulty to come after those guys. Just because when they left, like the show went to complete poop, and everybody else kind of has always had to like save the show. Anyways, but they built it. They built it from nothing. So you can't have these guys too high. I'm just saying this is the reason they're all down here for me. So, moving on. Shout out to the Blues Brothers though, which wasn't necessarily like a hilarious thing. It was just great. All right, but yeah, I don't know. I'm really shocked that you guys aren't. I knew that most people would have Jim Belushi ahead of this next guy, but I don't know. I'm a little surprised as many people are talking about it as they are. Number 6 for me.
Yeah, right. It's you know, it's a glass. It's broken glass. You know, I mean, you know, it sells very well, as a matter of fact. You know, I mean, it's just broken glass. You know. Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, children could seriously cut themselves on any one of these pieces.
Yeah. Well, look. You know, a kid, the average kid, he picks up, you know, broken glass anywhere. The beach, the street, garbage cans, parking lots, all over the place in any big city. We're just packaging what the kids want. You know.
So yeah, we got Danny Aykroyd here at number 6. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just feel like maybe Jim Belushi was just kind of like more like a punk rock guy, and that's just not really my style. I don't know. Maybe Dan's a little more straight-laced. I think for me, he just tickles me like way more than Gilda and John. And he's a glue guy too, you know? He's like the guy who gets other people buckets. But yeah, he was a high scorer as well. Here's the athlete comparison. I just really struggled with this athlete comparison, but we're gonna go with Jerry West here, who I feel was a big scorer, but also a pretty elite distributor, and maybe doesn't get his due as far as the legends. Like, I don't know, Jerry West I feel like is a top 10 all-time player. But yeah, people kind of like, I guess Jim Belushi was the punk rock guy, and Gilda Radner was the trailblazer. Dan Aykroyd was funny as hell, man. He was just freaking hilarious, dude. Wild and Crazy Guys, like the updates stuff. You know, I don't know. I feel like he was an elite talent as far as just overall hilarity to me. Dan Aykroyd, just an intelligence. I just find his stuff more funny than Jim Belushi. I think it's just a taste thing, but I think Aykroyd, Belushi, Radner, if you got those 1, 2, 3, which by the way my mom has them 1, 2, 3, Radner, Belushi, Aykroyd in that order, that's fine. They were amazing. So whatever order you want to go with that, I'm not really going to argue. It's a taste thing, in my opinion. Taste for me, Aykroyd is number 1. And like the Blues Brothers, I don't know, man, like his dancing and stuff, dude, like that's the thing that made it like epic for me. Like there's so many guys that could sing like John Belushi. Did I call him Jim earlier? I'm sure it's happened more than many times. Apologies. Jim Belushi was in the cast, by the way. 83, 84. But like the thing that makes it like an epic thing, I think, is like just Dan Aykroyd's just general demeanor. I think that John Belushi. There's plenty of dudes that can do what he could do. He was awesome in the Blues Brothers, but I feel like the Dan Aykroyd factor of that is what makes it into an epic thing. Just his like dancing and just that character. That's just my opinion, man. Shout out to every single one of these friggin' people on this list. I absolutely love all these people. All right, moving on. Number 5. Yeah, I agree. I had a tough time with that one. And he's like kind of like an unorthodox athlete, like maybe like a Jack Concannon with 4 legs would have been a good comparison. Shout out to anybody who got that reference. Mostly just grip. Okay, this is one that is also controversial. No, not anybody can do John Belushi's role. I shouldn't have said that. I guess what I'd say is that Dan Aykroyd's was a little bit weirder and a little bit more unusual. But yeah, you're right. Okay. All right. Number 5. Pitchforks.
Tough game, tough
This is a
loss.
funny clip, though.
But the fight was fair, and it was
Are you
really...
kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? Did you see that out of
Maybe
bounds
not
call
many
at the
people
ref?
have seen.
What? Man, that thing was a big payoff, man. I want the country to know. Ain't no damn accusation, man. It's the mob. It's the mob. The whole other team is run by the mob. That Francisco dude, he's in the mob, man. I'm telling you, man. I buy my pills and stuff from him, man. And he got Jimmy Hoffa. I'm serious. The dude got Jimmy Hoffa buried in his driveway, man. In his concrete driveway. I don't want the world to know this, man. I'm shot.
All right, Eddie Murphy, number 5. Yep. The case for Eddie Murphy at number 1 is an extremely strong one. Basically, the show would have been thrown in the bin had it not been Eddie Murphy. Had it not been for Eddie Murphy. Just a rough supporting cast. Probably 4 years of just absolute toil. With just not very much around him. Joe Piscopo, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Tim Kazurinsky. Shout out Tim Kazurinsky, by the way. And not much else. Not a lot of run support, fam. Oh, crap. Where is it? Kind of just had to do it all by himself. I got him as the Felix Hernandez of SNL. Kind of just had to go out there. If he was letting up 2 runs, it wasn't going to be a good episode. Yeah, this is the most controversial one for me. I feel like the case for Eddie Murphy at number 1 is very, very strong as far as overall importance to SNL. And if you thought that he was the funniest, also, that works too. But these were rough episodes that he brought a lot to the party on. But it just is what it is. They were rough. Okay? Listen, you guys got your pitchforks out? Bring it. I'm ready for it. Okay? But, yeah. I don't know, man. He had Mr. Robinson is probably my favorite for his recurring characters. But he had the guy, drawing a blank on all his iconic characters, man. It's getting to be a little bit. This is number 2 here. The first one was extremely tall, and this one was pretty tall as well. But Buckwheat. Buckwheat's the one that everybody talks about as a legendary character. These are all great characters, and Eddie Murphy's obviously like ridiculously talented. He could sing. He did the Stevie Wonder thing that was epic. Mega talent. Basically just carried the show. And by the way, degree of difficulty very high. When everybody around you is not pulling in laughs and you still do your thing and everybody says that you're amazing, you know, that deserves a lot of credit. Anybody who says Eddie Murphy's number one, I ain't gonna argue with you. So, look at this. Pitchforks. Number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list. So, hey, it is what it is. And, yep, Felix Hernandez just really never had a chance. But everybody knows he was amazing. He did his damn thing. We seen it, okay? We watched Felix. We seen it. For those who know, he was great. All right? Okay, so, yeah, the criterion, things get a little crazy here. All right, let's keep rolling. Top 4, y'all. Thanks for making it this far, man. Shout out to you guys for being a part of this and contributing, man. I love the chat. I did not do that intentionally. This is my list. I'm standing by it. Nobody doesn't like this guy, though.
Maybe I don't look the part. I'm not svelte. I don't look comfortable on camera. I'm not savvy. I don't understand what's going on in the news. And, I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm flying. Holy shnikes. I have a weight problem. Can't be 15.
This is my favorite moment in the history of the show, maybe, right here.
This is live.
This is just a triumph. I think that just that part. It's not the greatest sketch ever. It's not a top 5 sketch. That's my favorite part in the history of Saturday Night Live. Maybe. Just an absolute magical moment. Chris Farley. Let's try not to get emotional about this guy, man. Just like how nobody delivered bigger moments than Chris Farley. Nobody delivered more exciting moments than Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp at his apex was the most exciting basketball player for me. He delivered the most exciting moments in all sports that I've ever experienced, for courtesy of Sean Kemp. And by the way, he was the best athlete possibly in the league besides Jordan. Chris Farley, nobody did physical comedy like him besides maybe Jim Carrey. But I just think so. The criteria, right? Did he save the show? No, he just added to an already great cast. How did it go when he was there? Well, he kind of semi-sabotaged the show by being a total zoo in the 94-95 debacle season. So that doesn't really... Eddie Murphy should be ahead of him just based on that alone, according to my criteria. But the most important thing is, did they kill? This is the funniest dude ever. Like, it's like you put all the funniest people, you put all the SNL cast members in a room. The guy that's gonna get people laughing the most is Chris Farley. It's just my opinion. I tried to factor in popularity, but I do think that everybody loves Chris Farley. I think that we're still feeling the effects of his departure. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I do want to throw out there that Sean Kemp also got really fat towards the end. So, yeah, Chris Farley was a zoo. He was a bit of a wild card. He had a lot of misses on the show, but he swung hard as fuck, and he hit some of the most ridiculously deep homers ever. And the reason that I got him ahead of Eddie Murphy, the reason he's this high for me is because the thing that I like a lot the thing that really is a big factor with me ranking these characters is if they were in a sketch for like not very long and they somehow still got a laugh by just playing a nothingness character, Chris Farley was possibly the best at that. He was quite possibly the best ever at that. There was one sketch in particular that most cast members would have brought 0 to the party. It was the Pepper Boy sketch. Dana Carvey and Adam Sandler. Dana Carvey's teaching Adam Sandler his pepper protege, and they meet this guy Chris Farley. Chris Farley's got the man with the bushy beard, and he says, "Why, yes, Pepper Boy, that was the perfect amount of pepper. Bravo!" He was literally on the screen for like 15 seconds, and you could tell Adam Sandler was about ready to die. He had to turn his head. He was trying to keep in a laugh. I just think that made him special. That made him an all-timer. Just he would do that all the time in these sketches. So, in my opinion, maybe I'm just biased towards these 90s people, but I just think that his laughs that he generated were on a different scale than just about everybody else. So that's how I feel about Chris Farley. I stand by the ranking, but I'm 100% cool with anybody who says Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Belushi, Gilda Radner are ahead of this guy. He was amazing. All right, number 3. We got 3 left, y'all. Thanks for everybody hanging out still, man. This is so much fun. Where's my thing here? This thing's all out of whack. Okay, we do this. I know there's been a few misspellings and whatnot, but you gotta admit the sausage has been pretty well organized here. This is my most sausage that's ever been on one of these things ever. Top 3. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm just a caveman. I fell in some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me. Sometimes the honking horns of your traffic make me want to get out of my BMW and run off into the hills or whatever.
Number 3. We're going to go with Phil Hartman here, man. Well, get that 3 out of here. Big fucking 3. That thing I was talking about, how Chris Farley, if he was just a bit player in a sketch, would still somehow get a laugh. This is the only guy that could possibly beat him on that. In my opinion, this is the all-time greatest team player in sketch comedy. Oh. He comes in at number 3, by the way, on the big board. Just like how Bill Russell is the all-time best team sports athlete. And if you're just looking at the raw numbers or the raw whatever, like stardom, you know, what Phil Hartman brought to the table, just like Bill Russell, was a little bit subtle. A little bit subtle. You know, I love House Guests, by the way. Phil Hartman was a great actor first and a great comedian second. But this is the most prolific actor of all time. Like 80s, when they had the tight cast of 8 guys, they said they were... I've listened to some of these podcasts, and they said that they built the... you know, they have to organize the... you know, sketches around people changing, you know, update. Do they have a tape segment? All those shows that Phil Hartman was involved in the late 80s, and then to a certain extent in the 90s, but less so because there was more guys involved, It was all based on Phil Hartman changing wigs. Did they have time to get him into a different wig because they had to put a bald cap on for some of these? It's just like the whole show was built around making sure that Phil Hartman could do all the sketches he was in, which was probably somewhere in the 80% of all sketches that were on every show that he was involved in. He's just the most prolific dude. And I don't know why people really like that Unfrozen Caveman lawyer sketch, which I feel like is kind of like a sketch comedy, fans sketch comedy. It's not for everybody. A lot of this stuff was a little bit high concept, but he also could just do the basic impressions. The game show host, the guys in the commercial, the colon blow, things of this nature. This was Phil Hartman's wheelhouse. This is the stuff that really makes the show special. These types of things. He could just do it all. He could go over the top too. He could be a totally wacky, off the wall character as well. He just was always good 100% of the time. And like I said, this late 80s cast with their off the wall sketches, I just like them a little bit more than just about everybody else. But everybody's in on Phil Hartman. Community had my back on this one. Comes in at number 3. Not a shock. I don't think many people are really too upset with this. Him over Eddie Murphy is still a little bit controversial, but it's just my type of humor, and that was my era. Those were the most important years for me. I try to keep it objective, but I just really think Phil Hartman was amazing. This one is going to be a little tough to defend from an objectivity standpoint.
Number 6, what did you have for breakfast today? Eleanor!
Some cantaloupe.
Morton Town, USA!
I had poached eggs and toast.
Jajamondo!
Bacon and eggs?
Patty Patty Buke Buke!
I'm thinking waffles, maybe
Wrong!
a little...
You all had Special K with banana!
So this is Dana Carvey here at number 2. For me, all time. Like I said, this is my era. This is my favorite, and he just tickled me more than anybody else on the show, basically. The thing that kind of puts him over the top a little bit is like the George Bush character, which, by the way, George Bush Sr., not very funny at all. Like, just kind of the fact that he came up with the character that was like iconic and like was one of the most popular on the show is just insane. He turned that, like, these cold opens were just hugely epic. He did the Ross Perot thing. Like, this is what the stuff that really elevated the show. And he just did a little bit of everything. He had so many just recurring character hits. It's a staggering amount. Like, you know, he had Garth, and he had the Johnny Carson thing was epic. The McLaughlin group, just too many to name, but yeah, number 1, Bowen Yang, and that's the thing. So that he had the Chop and Broccoli, which I think that guy's character's name was like Derek Edwards or something. That was the first that was the thing that stood out for the very first episode of the 1986-87 season, which that was the season where SNL was the most in danger, because they were only doing 10 episodes after the 85-86 debacle. They only had a 10 episode, and they had to deliver. That first episode, he did the Chop and Broccoli thing, and it was immediate huge success. So possibly one of the most important moments in the history of the show right there. And this one's obviously a little skewed because, like, his stand-up just straight up destroys me, and the Dana Carvey show destroys me. So it's tough to ignore these things. Wayne's World, one of my favorite movies ever. Just like how this guy is one of my favorite athletes ever. the natural talent. Dude, yeah, and then he comes back, he does the Biden thing. He's always finding a way. He's just like 100% funny all the time. Shout out to Massive Head Wound Harry, by the way. This guy was just a natural talent. Like he wasn't like from like one of these sketch comedy factories like the Groundlings or SCTV. He was barely even famous at all, or barely even had that much under his belt when he got on SNL, but just figured it out. Just turned out to be, like a sketch comedy genius here. And he does come in at number 4 for the community ranks, so you guys weren't that much upset with this. Obviously, just about everybody's got Eddie Murphy ahead of Dana Carvey. That's fine. I just think that these seasons, the fact that Dana Carvey was involved was a big part of why they were the best seasons of Saturday Night Live. This is, in my opinion, this 86 through 93 stretch, especially the latter half of that, is the best era of the show. The funniest episodes, the most like just wall-to-wall bangers if you tune in. Because the thing is, every season has had good sketches. And, every season has had bad sketches. But the early 90s had like, those episodes were like, every single sketch was a banger. Like every single moment on the show was entertaining. It's easy to forget this. When they had the cast that was still there, the Jan Hooks, Phil Hartman, John Lovitz kind of bounced early, but like they brought in Sandler and Farley and Mike Myers, and then like Rob Schneider and Julius Sweeney. That was the most epic run of the show. So I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of Dana Carvey characters because he had a ton. But he's just one of my favorite. I mean, trying to be objective, but I feel like he absolutely carried the show. Him and Phil Hartman. And that was the best run for the show. So there you go. All right. And that's the end of the controversy. I should. It's a good idea. I can't. I'm not going to do this justice, but absolutely zero controversy here. Oh, what happened to my thing? Where'd the, Dude, yeah, you pick your favorite. Those were all considered. Where'd the thing go? Oh yeah, we got this here. Oh, I never made it. That's right, there was a lot of stuff. Let's just bring this in.
Hey, what about this? If you had a choice between being the top scientist in your field or getting mad cow disease, what would it be?
Well, of course I would choose to be the top scientist in my field.
Oh, good. I was worried you'd choose mad cow.
Why would you think that?
I guess I'm just a worrier. That's why my friends call me Whiskers.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at one point kind of just thinking Will Ferrell was a bit much in those early days. You're just kind of being like, this is just, there's a lot going on here. But he wore on me, and it's just a staggering amount of characters. Staggering amount of characters that were just slayers. It's just overwhelming to even start to talk about Will Ferrell's contributions to SNL. But see, besides this epic cowboy character, I mean, you got the Dodge Stratus, the Don't Get Off My Shed. You got the Carry. Let's see what else. You got the Morning Latte. You got the Night of the Roxbury stuff. You got just keep going. I mean, you got like guys like there's Gus Chiggins, the Prospector, the Lovas. Those are some of my favorites. Alex Trebek, George Bush. Hello. If you look, the cheerleaders. What else? If you go and you look at all the sketches, it'll just overwhelm you with the ridiculous amount of characters that made you laugh over the years. It doesn't even make sense that he could come up with all these characters. But yet he did. And these weren't, unlike Dana Carvey, Phil Carvey, some of these years were a little rocky, especially like that mid-90s. But this is probably, I'm going to end this with probably my dumbest one yet, but here we go. We're going to go with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for this. Basically, 95, 96, it was a little rough. Shea Gilgeous, he was one of the new guys for the Thunder. Where the hell am I going with this? Basically, he just kept developing, and then all of a sudden it turned into a great team around him, which is where we're at now. And people might not have seen it for a while, but I think people understand that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the great players in the league. I feel like there's more to this comparison, but this is how we're going to end the show, with this Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Will Ferrell comparison. And it's not an obvious one. I will admit that. But Shea Gilgeous has a deep bag of tricks that he can do. He's a pretty elite scorer. And he's one of the best players in the league at this juncture. He could be MVP now. Just took Will Ferrell. It took Will Ferrell a little while to get to the MVP status, but he was always good in the 90s. But by the time it got to the 2000s, it was like the Will Ferrell show. Like 2000, 2001, 2002. It was the Will Ferrell show at that point. It was like every night you were seeing what Will was going to do. It was like, I think the thing that makes him number one in my book is he's the guy, with the possible exception of Chris Farley, that when he came on the screen, I would get the most excited. Like, what's going to happen here? Like, I better watch, because something really freaking funny might happen, because Will Ferrell is on the TV screen. So I better lock in. And I think Chris Farley might be number 2 on that list. But Dana and Phil were a little more prolific. Is why they're ahead of him. Top 10 for my mom, who has an amazing list. Here's what she got. She went Gilda number 1, Belushi 2, Aykroyd 3. Where's her? Dana Carvey number 4. She knows what's up. Kate McKinnon number 5. Not mad. Kristen Wiig number 6. Eddie Murphy number 7. Will Ferrell 8. I mean, whatever. It's he had some tough moments. Let's be honest. A lot of it was like a little in your face. Tina Fey number 9. Amy Poehler number 10. Solid. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I could see why she picked those people. I kind of know those were some people that particularly tickled my mom's funny bone. She had Sherry O'Terry number 13, which, I think that me and my mom were carrying the Sherry O'Terry flame here in this community rankings. I just don't think she was for everybody. But this era here, this like late 90s, I just feel like Will and Sherry in particular did a lot of heavy lifting. So this is just a dumb athlete comparison. Man, I had some good ones. This is like the worst one. This sucks. What a dumb way to end it. Oh well. Let's see what else. Well, I think that's all I got for you guys tonight. Pretty fun. I had a really good time making this list. The thing that made this the most fun was just watching all these sketches over and over again. Or not over and over again, but just watching a ton of them over the last week and a half. And I just got a lot of love for all these people. The main thing that drove me to do this was just how much I just enjoy these people. I just love them, man. I love that. And Dana Carvey explained it. He has this podcast, which was really good. It's The Fly on the Wall. Oh yeah, I almost did a little special shout out to Steve Martin, who would have been a top 10 person on the show, but I didn't count hosting, just to make a rule. I had to make a rule about that. He was never in the cast. I almost thought about doing like a list of like who, if they were in the cast, would have been great. Alec Baldwin, obviously. I'm just gonna get Shea Gilgis out of there. Let's do I have any other just kind of random videos here? What were some of the ones that didn't make the cut as far as playing them for y'all? Let's just do this one, since I got you guys here.
But it's not getting to the people who need it because it's being intercepted by warlords.
Phil Hartman, rest in peace. John Goodman.
It's other countries too. Like your McNugget is released from Great Britain to Somalia, intercepted by warlords. This guy's filet of fish sandwich, aid from Italy, warlord. So it doesn't matter how much. All right. You guys up for a real run?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty funny.
Race you to the Pizza Hut.
That's pretty funny. All right, that's probably gonna give me the universal eyes. All right. Well, shit, that was fun, y'all. Thanks for participating. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. I ain't mad at anybody who's got Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Gilda Radner higher. Those are obviously in the mix for number one. But it's just the Chris Farley, just loud laughs, just surprising stuff. Maybe it's just my era, but I just feel like Chris Farley was just the funniest, man. He was just the funniest. He wasn't as prolific as Phil Hartman or Dana Carvey. And just that era, the late 80s era, the early 90s era, those were the best shows. So that's just like my opinion, man. And then Will Ferrell's just undeniable. How about one of the best parts of last night, by the way, was Will Ferrell and Eddie Murphy in a sketch together. And Will Ferrell making Eddie Murphy laugh by screwing up his line was definitely one of the funniest things ever. And yeah, if we're doing overall contributions to the show, obviously Lorne Michaels is number one. But then you got to slot Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey higher. They have to be higher because when they came back to host or do other stuff, guest spots, that was epic stuff. And then like Steve Martin, obviously. I mean, Alec Baldwin over the years has been friggin' amazing. So there's a lot of guys that contribute. And then just talk about writers. Like, it's hard to say who did what writing, but like, Robert Smigel, John Mulvaney, Emily Spivey, who else? Michael O'Donoghue was like the first head writer. He's obviously one of the most important people for Saturday Night Live. Seth Meyers wrote a lot of shit. There's just tons of epic writers. Justin Timberlake. Great call. Mom's still watching the stream. It's 10:50. It's only 10:54. It's only 10:54 out here. Oh, I didn't even talk about the Chris Farley show. The Chris Farley show sketch. One of my favorites. That was awesome. Look at this. Oh yeah, Grip. What else you got? Oh, one of my lists that I didn't do. I'll just drop it to you real quick. 5 people on the current cast that I haven't given up on as top 50 people. Chloe Fineman, Colin Jost, Heidi Gardner, Bowen Yang, and forgot who the 5th one was. But who's the guy? I like the guy who does like the Latin American characters. What's that guy's name? Marcelo Hernandez. Totally drawing a blank on him. But I feel like those guys. It's a little I wasn't comfortable ranking them yet. It's hard to rank people that are still in the game. You know what I mean? And assess their whole thing. But I do like the current cast. I do like the current cast in general. I feel like the show is on the upswing right now. Oh, I was gonna say also Ego Nwodum is good. Big fan. Colin Jost he keeps wearing me out. Like I really didn't like him that much at first. I just wasn't into Update with him and Michael Che. Just wasn't feeling it. But he just keeps wearing me down. Like I like that Shara Sherman's coming in and making fun of him a lot. I like that vibe a lot. I like when they switch the jokes. He's wearing me down, Colin Jost. So I could see a lot of love for these current cast members. And obviously I did rank Sarah Sherman in case you didn't miss that on the first one, because I feel like it's just painfully obvious already that she's one of the greats. And let's see. What else? Best cast ever. 1991, 1992. Best season ever of Saturday Night Live. Obviously, the fact that I was 11 years old when that was happening, 10, 11 years old, that obviously is a big part of why that, but I feel like that's the deepest cast ever with the overall best shows. And I would say number 2 ever would be somewhere in the 2009, 2010 range, but I don't actually know what specific season I'm talking about. But just as far as a juiced up cast, when you had Andy Samberg, Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig, Kenan Thompson, Jason Sudeikis, and more, that is probably the second most overall juiced up cast of the show. I like that you guys are still here, even though I'm already finished. I don't even have any music going on in the background. So let's just wrap it up by saying that I feel like we got to go a little deeper into this at some point. Maybe go a little bit deeper on the top sketches. But this was fun. I like. Let's. Well, I got you. I'll just read off the community rank. Number 1, Will Ferrell. Number 2, Eddie Murphy. I think that's most people's 1-2, objectively speaking. Phil Hartman 3, Dana Carvey 4, Chris Farley 5, John Belushi number 6, Kristen Wiig also number 6, tied for number 6, Dan Aykroyd 8, Bill Hader 9, Mike Myers 10, Kate McKinnon 11, Gilda Radner 12. Didn't I have 2 number 11s? I don't know what's going on with this. I don't have this listed in a cool way. Andy Samberg 13, Kenan Thompson 14, Maya Rudolph was also number 11. This is off the rails already. Bill Murray 15. So everybody was one off from then on down, I guess. Kind of wish I hadn't exposed this, but you guys are still here. So Amy Poehler 17, Adam Sandler 18. Norm Macdonald somehow also 16. Community rank, not super dialed. This was not a perfect process. Or did I not do 16? Did I skip 16? What's going on here? Random people that people ranked that were not really talked about at all. Bobby Moynihan is a great pick. I don't really have anything against him. He just didn't make it for me. 80 Bryant also, I don't really not like her. Just didn't make the list. Someone had Harry Shearer way up there, which is pretty acceptable. Michael Che got some love. Nassim Pedrad, I like it. Chris Rock, I didn't talk about him at all. He's didn't suck on the show, that's for sure. Jay Farrow got a vote. James Austin Johnson and Chloe Fineman. Victoria Jackson got a vote somewhere. And then the guy with the least amount of points, someone shoved Tim Robinson on the list, which is, I'm not mad at that at all. Not mad at that at all. Obviously one of the all-time great sketch comedy performers, contributors ever, Tim Robinson. But as far as SNL output, pretty low. Pretty low. I think he did more writing than performing. A lot more writing than performing. So, yeah, the Round Ball Rock sketch, that was freaking epic. And then just, I don't know, I might revisit this list. There's a few I feel like I got wrong, maybe. After I kind of went through it and talked it out. Maybe there could be a re-rack in the future. But I really thought I was going to be a little bit out there on Melissa Villaseñor, but you guys were really feeling her, so I'm liking that. Chris Rock was on my list, was on the bench. He was way down there. Oh, Horatio Sands. Nobody really likes him, I guess. Some guys that didn't make my list that I like are Christopher Guest, Rob Schneider, Leslie Jones, Heidi Gardner, Kyle Mooney, Tim Kazurinsky, Colin Jost, Bobby Moynihan. Nobody ranked this guy, but Don Novello, who did the father, the Guido Garducci character. Is that what his name was? I felt like that character was pretty awesome. Horatio Sands, Chloe Fineman, Chris Rock, and the last person that I considered last on my list of people that were under consideration was Julie Louis-Dreyfus. You have to at least consider her. She's like the greatest comedian of all time. But as far as SNL stuff, not gonna be able to do it, fam. Oh, Al Franken was. Oh, I actually have Al Franken right here. He almost made it. He was in the 60s. He was in the 60s for me. And that's pretty much all the people I considered. I did look at every single person, which is why I'm just going to revisit since you guys are still here. Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time and do some of these here, these lists. I love this one. I like Mary Gross too. I like Mary Gross. She did Dr. Ruth, which was really funny. She was pretty good. Tim Kazurinsky, there was other people that didn't suck there. These are the people I had no recollection of. Two of these guys were actually in the house last night. Does anybody remember this guy's name? If you can type his name in the list, I will give you something. Some sort of reward. Where's the Minds of Moria 5 list? Where's my Minds? Yep, already forgot him. I don't remember it either. This is kind of a banger track, by the way, from the Blues Brothers. I'm going to go back to the beginning in case it was too quiet. This John Rudnitsky. I kind of vaguely remember his face, which is why he's only number 5. I feel like I knew most of these people. There he is. Is there anything more funny than just the random brother of a famous person? Shout out Frank Stallone. There he is, Peter Aykroyd. The 79-80 season. He filled in for Dan. He didn't have the same impact as Dan. There she is. Who remembers this one? Who's this? Who dat? What's that skit where it's like they're trying to quiz John Mulvaney on like remembering like Tim Kaine? That's a good one. Nobody knows it. More Wenna Banks. Oh, I got a comment on my YouTube. Oh yeah, Brian Doyle Murray. That was pretty funny. I got this. I got a comment on the video. Let me see. What am I looking at here? I'll pull up the old video. Someone commented on the video. Says, more Wenna Banks, aka Mother Stoneham, on Skins, of course. I think she had a pretty good career in England. Obviously, that's Dan Vitale. The only thing I could find of him was just the opening credit. I have no recollection of this guy at all. It's Dan Vitale, 85-86. Not a great season for us at all. Then, of course, the legend. The legend. This guy was in the house last night. The legendary Luke Null, who I will be joining with Shermie on this inside joke train. Shout out A. Whitney Brown. That was the Mines of Moria 5. That's how we're going to end it. Thanks again for watching. Let's do this one more time. Slow, respectful fade for Ray Charles. One more time.
Maybe I don't look the part. I'm not svelte. I don't look comfortable on camera. I'm not savvy. I don't understand what's going on in the news. And, I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm flying. Holy shnikes! Look at Kevin! But
You're
I'm
almost
doing
flying.
something! I have a weight problem. Can't they lift me?
You're almost flying, buddy.
This is launch! What's that? Hey!
And then the mines. All right. Well, that was fun. Saturday Night Live, 50 years. Good times. Thanks for watching once again. We'll have to do more stuff like this in the future. We got Tecmo After Dark coming to you tomorrow night. Tad Tuesday. Be there. Peace for now.